Yeah, so we are live. Uh, Welcome everyone. So we have coffee with the CEO today. It's our third episode today, and it's kind of hard. It's Sunday morning. I know it's pretty
11
boring, but
a.m.
still, yeah, but still, we'll try to make it as interesting as possible because we have a very special guest with us tonight. Today, we have a very special guest. We have a very eminent person from the corporate world. We have a person who is an IIM Calcutta graduate. He has worked in several top companies like Hindustan Unilever Limited, Johnson and Johnson, Stryker, and now he's working as the product management customer experience vice president of Engie Groups, the solar groups. So we have a very eminent person with us. So welcome, sir. Sanjoy Barua, sir. Welcome.
So it's great having you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure is mine.
Yeah, so today we'll try to make this a very learning experience because we have you, sir. So we're going to ask you a few questions that students like us have always wanted to ask a person who's directly worked in the corporate sphere, or so we wanted to know more about something. So yeah, so we have a few questions ready with us.
Sure. Please feel free. And you can keep it informal as well. So it's a Sunday morning, have a cup of tea or coffee. So we can have a
Yeah,
freewheeling chat, as you said.
yes, it's coffee with the CEO. It is nowhere formal, sir. It's very casual
Yes, sir.
Sunday morning chat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My first question is, so how will you describe your business journey? What were the ups and downs you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, that's before I tell you more about my business journey, I think you should let me give you a small brief of about the business that I'm in, which is the
Yeah, sure,
startup that
sir.
I work for. Yeah, it's called Simpa. And when we started, we were trying to solve the problem for rural Indians, specifically around the energy access space. Meaning, the rural Indians back then, it's almost 7 years old story. Back then, unlike today, or you are not used to it maybe, but you have always seen grid connection at home, electricity at home. The rural India was not connected to the grid, so the power availability was very poor. Even if it was there, say you had the line connected, but hardly there was any electricity, maybe 8 hours, maybe 6 hours. That was really a big problem and opportunity loss for the people who lived in that area, right? So we said that okay, let us solve the problem through solar. But the problem was that solar is very costly. So if you put a typical solar home systems in a household, a rural household, say for 5 members, 6 members, you'd need a fan, you'd need 3, 4 lights, a panel, battery, etc. That the whole cost of that would be around 20,000 rupees. The affordability obviously was much lower there, right? So no one would be able to afford 20,000 rupees immediately in a rural environment. So what we did actually was that we said that okay, let's follow the prepaid mobile technology. Like you buy a prepaid mobile connection, you buy talk time, right? And once the talk
Yeah.
time is over, the outgoing stops. So that really made the prepaid phone or mobile phone, the adoption really went up. Everybody started, using mobile phones because the prepaid connection, you don't have to pay a lot of upfront money, etc. So we thought, let's do something like that for solar. So what we develop a technology. That technology really enabled us to, deploy that 20,000 unit in a household just by taking maybe 500 rupees as security deposit. And he started using the system on a pay-as-you-go basis, meaning as he uses, as per uses, he will be billed. So, and it was prepaid. So he would go to a nearby recharge center, pay money, get a code similar to prepaid. Instead of buying, talk time, he will buy energy days. We call them energy days. So he will buy 30 days, 15 days, 5 days, 7 days of, depending on his, affordability, right? And he will put the code inside, and the system will be on for 7 days, 3 days, 30 days, whatever. And that really, and suppose he doesn't have, it's an agricultural, society, right? This is rural India. Sometimes they do not have money with them. So then maybe for 15, 20 days, they won't recharge. So the system will not work, and they're okay with that, living in without that. Then again, when they have some money, they will again recharge. And more importantly, get the energy that, was till that point in time was not available to them. So that is the basis. So then you'll understand the ups and downs of it. So that sounds very nice. Okay, that's a great idea. We
Yeah,
thought we are trying to
Yes.
solve the problem. We had the technology as well. So that is the first up. Okay, and there were a lot of VC who showed a lot of interest. We got the funding. So that's the first up. Okay, the technology is there, and there are a lot of people who are willing to invest. The great idea.
mm,
Then once you hit the market, then comes the down, right? Then you see that it's not as easy as it sounds, right? When you go out there, the first challenge is the last mile distribution. So how do you reach to that rural India? It's very easy, for to distribute a product, say, in an urban environment. You can do
mm.
e-commerce, you can do various things. But in a rural environment, how do you reach there? So that was the first down, and it really came as a shock that yeah, we need a massive distribution channel.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
So,
sir, are you there? Okay, we have a small technical difficulty here.
yeah, he's loading. He's coming back.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I think I got
yeah.
disconnected.
Okay.
No, sir, no problem.
Am I back?
Yeah, sir. You
Can
okay?
you see me
Yeah,
there?
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
back.
One second, just a sec. I think
Yeah,
Yes,
there
yeah.
sure.
is one thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, why it's not showing the connection? Okay, so let's go ahead.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes.
yes, sir. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think my
Yeah.
audio is slightly off. Anyway, so that was the down, and then we solved that problem, and we said, okay, let's put a distribution channel in the UP,
Uh,
and okay, we set it up, and then we started selling through that, and then the next up, right? It's an up and down cycle.
mm,
Came as good
yeah.
adoption, so everybody started. We saw real good success over there. We deployed a Urja Mitra scheme where we made rural people the ambassador of this product and asked them to
Oh,
go and propagate that and give them a commission if they bring in more sales. So that is up. Then came the next big question is how do you scale now? Now this is the big
mm,
challenge. Now this is one state, it's one few districts. That's okay. Now how do you go pan India?
yeah.
And then once you go pan India, then come the next big challenge or down is that the technology was being bypassed by people, meaning they would take the
Okay.
20,000 unit. There are many people in UP and Bihar,
Okay.
and they would not recharge, and they would find a way to really temper with the technology, and then continue to get power without really
Oh,
Paying.
recharging. So we started
Yeah.
losing money.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's again a big challenge or a down. Obviously, with every challenge, there is one more solution. So we then immediately moved to this solution that we had, or technology was really offline. So you could not really see the real time location, real time. You cannot remotely shut it off or remotely switch it on. So we said, okay, let's work
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
an IoT based technology. And that's what we did. We developed a patented IoT based technology, integrated the electronics along with the panel. So the panel, now the switch on the roof can be remotely switch off or switch on. So we have a direct online system where you can see all the time if the person there's a GPS attached to that. If the person goes out of his geofencing, you can really raise alerts, all the stuff. So that's how I think the business journey, I would say, ups and downs. And final up is obviously when it got acquired by Engie. I think the Engie is a global energy giant. they saw merit in this, and then finally they acquired us in 2019. So I think those are the ups and downs of this business.
Hmm. Yeah, sir. We have a doubt. Like for a consumer, is this a better alternative than the normal electricity way?
Sorry, can you repeat that? There was some sense.
So, yeah. For a consumer of this technology, is it a better alternative than the normal
Mm-hmm.
for a? Yeah. So am I audible?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Uh, yes, sir. So, for a normal consumer, is this a better alternative than the other means of electricity that we are receiving
Yeah,
right now? Like,
yeah. So this cannot replace grid. Okay, the grid connection is too good. Like it's very cheap, it's
yeah,
available, and it's an AC power, so you can power a lot of stuff.
uh,
It's not a replacement. You cannot, solar is DC first of all, and you cannot power everything. So you'll have to put a lot of panels if you have to do. So it's not a replacement as such, but it's a good alternative. If you do not have grid, this is the best thing. It's green, right? The environmental impact, and also the appliances are very efficient. Meaning a typical say fan that we use, the ceiling fan, AC would consume something like 80 watts, whereas a DC fan would consume 10 watts. So it's extremely energy efficient. So from
Yes,
that
exactly.
standpoint, it's a very good thing. You can uh, develop a lot of new appliances at this one, but it's a slightly industry non-aligned to the overall standard industry. Meaning most of the appliances are AC, and most of the people they aspire to get actually the grid connection. So that way it's not a replacement, but it's a good alternative.
So, one more question. So, it is believed that solar technology is like little expensive. Obviously, it's expensive, all the equipments and everything. So, when we focus on rural neighborhood, isn't it really tough? Like
Mhm.
it's the company who has to invest properly. I am not sure are the comebacks exactly the way we interpreted or not.
Yeah, it's tough. You are right. So the first big challenge is the awareness itself. So the awareness is very low, right? That solar can be used as an alternative means of source of energy or primary source of energy. That awareness itself is very low. We while we might have some awareness in rural India, it's very low. And so since the awareness is low, it takes a lot of effort to convince people to buy it. So what we call as consultative sale. It's not an
Okay.
impulse sale. It's not the impulse buy. The people don't go there and oh nice solar, let me buy it. No, you have to convince people to buy it. Uh, so they have a lot of apprehensions. That is, what will happen to service? What if something goes wrong? Who will
Yeah.
come and service it? So yeah, those are big challenges that needs to be solved, and then only you can this can be a very viable product.
So, like in our neighborhood, people are adapting to using solar panels. Nowadays they install solar panels
Yeah,
on their terrace. Yeah, so it's like it's coming in existence, but it'll take
yeah.
time, right?
Yeah, so in urban setup, yes, there is an incentive nowadays for people to install it because you get some subsidy. You get also power discount. So if you generate, for example, 5 kilowatt, you put a 5 kilowatt solar rooftop on on your house, and you generate say 2 unit. I'm just saying per day. So
Okay.
you'll actually get that much discount from your grid consumption. So if your
Oh,
electricity bill was 1,500 per month, so they will deduct the amount of electricity that you have generated from solar from your bill. So that there's an incentive in urban environment, but not that's not there in the rural area. So that's
yeah,
why you see in your neighborhood people, whoever has a roof at least. A lot of people do not have roof. Like I stay in a flat, so I do not have a roof, so I cannot put on my house. But people who are
Yeah.
fortunate enough to have a roof of their own, absolutely go. It should be done. 3 to 5 years
Yeah.
of payback period, I think it's very good proposition.
Yeah. So, sir, there's this one question where, so a lot of engineering students in India right now have this kind of trend where after engineering they'll do their MBA. Like it's mandatory, like because of this
Mm-hmm.
unemployment problem. A lot of reasons are there, but is this trend actually good for the students as well as for the country? Like, how would you tell? Like, is this good for the thing? Like, a student after doing completing engineering, doing business, is this actually a good idea?
What's your personal interest? You'd be doing an MBA after this, or let me understand. What's your plan?
Yeah, like, I would have preferred MBA more than engineering, but as I'm doing engineering right now, I don't think I'll be doing MBA later on. But yeah, but if
So
preference is
that
the case,
yeah, exactly. So the trend is actually industry driven. The trend that you're talking about, that people immediately after doing engineering, they go for a business course, just like Chetan Bhagat, right? Did an IIT
yeah,
engineering, and then went on to do an MBA, and then started working as a banker. What a waste, right?
yeah,
But you can't really blame him
yeah,
because that's what the industry demanded in terms of pay package. Very frankly, the average pay package of an engineer is lower than the average pay package of an MBA. I'm talking about like institutes.
yeah,
So obviously the natural tendency is to do an MBA immediately after that. But I personally do not subscribe to that. I feel, because I have done it that way, so I feel it's very beneficial to do a couple of years of job, get some experience, which you will not get if you do a direct MBA. Get some exposure to the industry, get some exposure to how it works, how people work. It's a very great learning experience that you will carry to your MBA if you do 2 3 years of work. If you have 2 3 years of work ex, then you know how some of the cross functions, like say sales or HR or finance, they work. You already know that. You have an appreciation for them. You have seen them working for the company that you are working, say. So then when you go and do the business course, there's much more, you relate to it in a much better way, and you have much more appreciation. Otherwise, it's just another subject. If you just do after say engineering, and if you straight away do an MBA or a business course, sales would be just another subject. Marketing would be just another subject. It will be just a copybook will say these four things should be done, 4 P's, 5 P's, whatever it is. You don't
yeah,
relate to it in a way the industry actually works. So that's why I feel it's very important that you do a job first, have some work ex, and then do it. But there's a trap, though. I must tell you that the trap is, if you start working, it is
yeah.
very difficult to give up the
So
temptation of salary, and the life of
yeah,
a working guy is totally different. All the enjoyment, and then come back to study again.
to
That's
yeah,
very
So
difficult.
freedom is the
And
word.
so if you do not have the self control, yeah, if you do not have the self control, uh, then maybe you should do it in one shot so that you finish off all the studies. But if you feel that, yeah, I think I had the self control, I'll be able to come back, then go for it. Go at least give yourself a shot in the industry or your own idea. I don't know. You work on something that you are very passionate about as a startup, and then come back and do that.
So, one follow-up question. So, people prefer to go like do MBA from abroad, like abroad countries, rather than pursuing it from India if they don't get an IIM or something. So, sir, then they get placed in abroad countries only, and they prefer it. Like honestly, even I would like that. Like I want to go outside for my postgraduate degree and then stay there for like maybe 5 years or 6 years, earn and then come back maybe. So, do you think it's a good, like good thing for our country or like for ourselves even?
See, if you go there with an intention to migrate to that country, obviously it's not good for the country that way because then we invested, the country has invested all the infra, everything, and that person actually goes out and does. But if you are going with the intention of working there for 5 years, as you said, and then come back and do continue, then I think it's not no harm. It's a very good exposure. Global exposure is very good. In fact, you should have some global exposure. That's even if it's working in India. Like for example, I was very fortunate that when I worked in say Engie or Stryker, I got good opportunity to go to US and work there for some couple of weeks, months. So that exposure is very important. That teaches you how other people work, how they think. Otherwise you are kind of in your own well and then think this is the way things work. Or this is there are a lot of cultural differences that are there in the work
Yes.
environment. It is very important that you understand. That's all. By all means, it's a very good thing. See, at the end of the day, we are becoming one world, right? Technology is bridging the gap. It hardly matters whether you are in US, Singapore, Dubai, or in India. Now, the technology
Yeah.
really doesn't differentiate that way. So not a big deal. I think you should take that as an exposure.
We
Yeah, it's
should.
your personal choice after staying there. Maybe if you feel like, "Arey, oh, India, kahan jana hai? So this is the place where I stay," and it's okay. That's your personal choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so, as you have lots of experience in this field, I'm asking, like, what, according to you, what do you think is the most important job skill needed for any student, any graduating student coming out?
Yeah. So very interesting question. So I can think many technical skills. You should have coding skills nowadays. But when I personally look at someone. Recruited say if I try to recruit someone from campus, I really look at the person's soft skills. So to me, what is most important is a person should have the ability to work hard, work smart, and get along with people. These are the three basic traits that I look at. Now you can put a lot of technical jargon under them, meaning what is working hard.
Yeah.
Working hard is putting attention to details, burning midnight oil. What is working smart? Working smart is having technical skill, being tech savvy, optimizing the resources, stuff like that. And getting along with people, meaning coordination, teaming, influencing others, and stuff like that. So these three traits are very important, and the right balance is very important. Why I tell you from my own personal experience, I have seen people who really, works hard. They're very smart, but they do not get along with people. So if you do not get along with people, you will not rise. You even if you are in a corporate world or you have your own business, unless you get along with people, it's impossible to go ahead in life. Same way, supposing you are great with interpersonal skill, influencing others, teaming and coordination, but you do not really put hard work, meaning you do not go into the details, you do not really understand the subject, you don't have the depth. Then in some point in time you will get exposed. So you get the drift, right? So this right balance of these three are extremely important. So to me, and believe me, there are many ways in an interview or in interaction we can find out what are your, how good are you at, getting along with people. How smart are you in terms of, optimizing resources or, from your various past experience, your own lifestyle and everything. We can find out.
Yeah.
Or how hardworking are you, like really.
Yeah.
So this to me is very important that you have all these skills. Why I'm telling you, why I'm not looking at a specific skill, but rather the three, because the skills that you acquire today, in terms of I'm saying hard skill, not the soft skill, are going
Yeah.
to get irrelevant 5 years down the line.
Yes.
Believe me, what I studied in engineering way back in '96 is totally irrelevant. It became irrelevant by the time we reached 2000. No, I was working on PLCs and all the stuff, but I never studied them. So stuff like that. So I really, it's called VUCA, right? If you know, it's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. That's the situation. The world today is volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, it's
Yeah.
ambiguous. Now, if you have to work in that environment, you need to have these skills. What are the skills? Means this, ability to get along with people, ability to adapt to the changing scenario. Be a change agent, meaning you should not be change resistant. Rather, you should be able to drive a change. Well, it's so
Yeah.
uncertain. So, like for example, this right, the way you are studying today, 1 year back, you could not have imagined. You were in a
Yeah.
hostel, you are
Definitely
staying
not.
there with your friends, and today you are doing this. Now, if you cannot adapt to this, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you never know. Even the working might be like this permanently for some jobs. Then you have to work like that. If you feel, oh, मैं घर में बैठे, how do I do work?
Yeah.
How I will work? There are so many disturbances. I cannot adapt. Oh, sorry. Then the world is difficult for you. So that's why I feel the skills that you really should focus on in acquiring. These are acquired skill, by the way. You can always, put effort to develop skills of getting along with people. Meaning, if you are a very introvert, unsocial, doesn't mean okay, you start partying tomorrow. I'm talking about, having a one-to-one discussion. You should be able to have that ability to converse with people, influence people, because a lot of time what happens, you have to get approvals. This is a very standard process. I mean, the approvals could be in terms of an investor. You have to convince an investor to invest on your project, or you have to invest your boss to say that he approved. Well, there is various stages where you have to influence people. It's a very common trait. Unless you have a good influencing capability, you cannot rise because वो सामने वाला आपको शॉर्ट करेगा. He will say बकवास है, it's not good.
Um,
So how do you develop that skill? So it's very important that you focus on these skills, and these are very soft skills. Nobody will teach you in a school or college. These are some skills that you should be very mindful of. And what I'm saying is I learned this, right? Now nobody's telling you in your college because professors have never used those skills to really work in a corporate environment maybe. But if someone was work, then those are the kind of skills that I'm really looking at. Someone who can take risk, prudent risk taking, as they say. So you should be able to use such a volatile environment unless you take certain prudent risk, meaning calculated risk, unless you are, good with people, unless you work smart, unless you work hard, unless you really adapt to changes, it's very difficult to survive. Uh,
yeah.
Hope I'm giving you some
Yes. Yes.
convincing answer.
Sure.
If,
Obviously.
Definitely,
if you're looking for some
definitely.
skills that I will rattle out, maybe that's sorry. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like on the cultural point, my next question would be: what are the arts and culture you like, and do you think they play an important role in our life?
Personally, I feel yes, it played a lot of important role in my life, especially. I am into, when I was young, I was into dramatics. So I
Okay.
did last theater. I even won an best child actor award in one my early days. So I'm into music, big time into music. I also write a little bit. I have a blog.
Oh.
So why this really helped me in terms of letting the steam out. Sometimes you're frustrated with something. Sometimes you face a barrier. You don't know what to do. If you have one of this kind of a which is not really your technical thing. You're just this is an outlet, right? You treat it as an outlet, and that really helps. So if you write something, mind becomes clear again. You listen to good music, everything becomes good again. Or if you are culturally inclined, you study about them. So it's really helpful. So personally, I feel it's a stress buster. I have always indulged in this kind of thing in my free time or whenever I'm a little stuck. Uh, so yeah, absolutely. Please have something. Otherwise, it is very
Yeah. Yeah.
monotonous. It is very difficult. And the best is try to play some instrument. I think that's something I miss in my life. It's one of my regrets. Actually, I do not play a string instrument, and I always wanted to learn a string instrument. Although I play, the congos and stuff like that. But why does it
Oh.
want again? When you're stuck or something or somewhere, it's very good outlet to relieve your stresses. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So my next question will be something little. So this question is like, most of the people, students who are there nowadays, all are flocking towards
Mhm.
becoming an engineer, becoming a doctor. All these things are majorly because of the job security that these jobs provide. Like, if you get into this job, your life will be secure because of a lot of reasons, because you will have a proper income, all these stuffs. Like, but nowadays we can
Mhm.
see a lot of unemployment problem in a certain field like engineering. You can, because a lot of people eventually came into it and a lot of people are not getting
More
jobs.
engineers than jobs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we are getting into a startup mentality. People want to join startups. So how would you say that startup would be a better alternative to is it a better alternative to 9 to 5 jobs? Is it, or for a lot of people, because there are a lot of people unemployed? Yeah.
Oh no, don't look at startup as something. Oh, because I didn't get a corporate job, so let me join a startup. No, that would be a wrong way to look at it.
Uh,
Or I'm unemployed, I do not have a job, so let me do a startup. No, that's not the way. You join a startup only when you believe in that, the core philosophy of the startup. Every
yeah.
startup has, started with some core philosophy or a core problem solving attitude. That yes, there is a problem. This is what I'm going to solve through this whatever commercially viable proposal. So you join a startup only if you believe in that cause or believe in that core philosophy. So if you do not believe, never join a startup, because startup,
Yeah.
like you said, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It requires a lot of time, effort, and energy from your side. Everybody's side, like from the co-founder to founder to employees. Everybody is very passionate, puts a lot of effort, time, energy. Keep thinking about that only. When the moment you wake up,
Yeah.
the first thing, okay, let me do this. Okay, let me solve this problem today. So unless you have that, don't look at it saying, okay, it's unemployment, there's no job, let me join a startup. No, that is not the way.
Yeah.
Rather, I would say, if it's a good thing. It's a blessing in disguise. Like I said,
Yeah.
try something of your own, and that's there are a lot of opportunities today. When I say opportunities, meaning a lot of people to guide you. There are a lot of people to invest money on good ideas. So I think that's a very good
Hmm.
option. If you feel that, yeah, there are more engineers than jobs. Uh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Let the engineers do something on their own,
Yeah.
and really come up with great solutions.
True.
So one
Yeah.
question, sir, can we compare the two things, like being a 9 to 5 job person and being a person entrepreneur? Like, can we compare them? Like, one is doing much better than the other, or it's like everyone is doing good in their fields?
No, I think people see everyone has some element of any person who has you know risen through the ranks in a corporate world also has a lot of entrepreneurial skills, or at least he's very enterprising, because even in a corporate environment or a big company, you unless you have that kind of attitude, bring in this disrupting ideas, implement them, you cannot really grow. You will be just another cog in the wheel. So I feel the core is, if you have that attitude, you have that jill in you, that you are enterprising, you are very entrepreneurial. It doesn't matter whether you are in a 9 to 5 job or you are in a startup. Even in a 9 to 5 job, you will do really well. You will find ways and means to improve things. You will find ways and means to increase efficiencies of what you do, and really bring in a change to the company, which the company will eventually recognize, and you will get the benefit. So there is no comparison as such, I would say. But if you have that skill, or that passion, you are very enterprising, then it doesn't matter. But if it is not that, you are more of a follow the method, there is a set pattern that you would like to follow. There are a lot of people. There's no harm in that again. Majority of the people are like that. 80% of the workforce actually is who's doing a very set pattern, who follows a very
Yeah.
set pattern, follows instructions to the T, and that's how these things work, right? So if you're a person like that, no harm. Go and do a 9 to 5 job. and do what the
Yeah.
job demands to you to do, come back and next day
Yes.
repeat it again. So that's the both set of people are equally important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, so sometimes, so this is also a question related to a lot of students. Like, so a lot of engineering students face a lot of family pressure. Not only engineering students, any student growing up in India would, at certain stage, would have
Mm,
faced family pressure. It's how the country is built. Like, it's built on a certain this is all you have to do after. This is a set of principles. This is how you have to follow. You cannot deviate from this. If you deviate from this, it's not good. So how uh, how can a person overcome this? Is it like if a person has to choose another path, or how do you overcome this parental pressure or anything? If you have had faced such a thing ever or anything, if you could share or something. Yeah.
yeah, I know where you are coming from. This is a concerning issue, obviously, especially to our generation.
Yeah.
Very significantly face that. Not so much in your generation, I
Yeah.
guess, because parents are also nowadays learning. They are also smart
I
people.
don't think
They
so,
also
sir.
realize
No, no. So
Even our
I would not
generation.
have. Sir, I asked the question because yeah, because of the it is
But
it's
yeah,
an actual.
so my personally, I never felt that because I was fortunate enough that my parents never really pressurized me. But then I followed engineering, which was a conventional thing that to
Yeah.
do. Maybe that's why my parents never opposed. I don't know how my parents would have reacted if I had said that, oh, I'll follow fine arts or I'll follow,
Yeah.
say, drama for that matter. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they would have reacted in a different way. And that's it's a generational thing. That's what I believe that the generation that was ahead of us, they always saw value in doing engineering, medical, because those are very secure job. You have a good sure income, etc., etc. But then as the generation changed, people also saw that there are other fields where people are doing well, and even sports, for example, before Tendulkar really burst into the scene, cricket as a career option was not even no middle class Indian would have supported his son or daughter to follow say cricket as a career. But someone broke that the whole mindset, right? Once Sachin Tendulkar becomes so popular, parents were actually pressurizing children in a reverse way. Okay, try to go and play cricket. Forget about studies.
Mhm.
If you become a good cricketer, you'll earn a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
so, so it's a generational thing. I think the onus is on us. I specifically, I now have the reverse role to play, so as to say. I'm a parent. I have a teenage daughter, and now she's at that juncture where she has to choose a path: engineering, medical, finance, whatever it is. And yes, there is this temptation to trust my ideas, what I think is good for her, into her. But like I said, it's a generational thing. So now at the same time, I'm also aware that I should not do that. So I don't do that. So I really feel the onus is on us. You said, how do we overcome? I think it's a generational thing. You cannot do much about what the previous generation has done on their mindset. But if we take it upon us, that at least we will ensure that our children, or our peers, or our colleagues, or our cousins, on them we will not put this kind of pressure. Then that's a good way. And believe me, 5, 10 years or next generation, once you guys become parents, this will be a thing of us.
Yeah. So is this actually true what they're saying? Like, there's only a proper career option in certain careers. Is this true? Like, if it's true, then it's better we follow them, right? Is it true, or maybe there's truth in like most of the careers really have options, or is it like only a very few points are
If
good?
you're good, no, yeah, if you're good in any field, you'll do really well. If you're a good artist,
Yeah.
you'll earn money like that. If you're a good player, like I said, but only thing is there are certain fields which is a fact of life because there is demand and supply. In certain fields, even if you're average, you'll still earn. more, or you have a secure life than say other field. Engineering and medical is one such field. You know,
Yeah.
it's a fact of matter because there are a lot of companies who wants engineer. There are a lot of healthcare is booming compared to say an artist. There's not much of a demand for a guy who's very good at arts. There is, unless he's very top of his
Yeah.
genre or his category. There's less. So that is truth. That's a fact of life. But if you're really good at anything, I'm really saying even if you're good at crime, for example, it really pays. At the end, it may not. But if you are good at what you do, uh, absolutely no problem. You'll really shine.
Yeah.
So most of the parents, even my parents, have this idea of professional degree, like doing a professional degree, and I think that includes only medical and engineering.
Yes.
So if you're doing that, you'll be successful. You'll have something to hold on for. And if you're not doing anything, like if you're doing anything else, like following the fine arts culture or even commerce culture, no offense,
Yes.
but it's like you will either you'll find success or you'll not. Like it's like a dilemma there.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. But again, like I said, there is a demand for these professional courses. So obviously, there's more people tend to do this. More, imagine a situation, okay? Tomorrow, there's more demand for teachers, for example.
Yeah.
So there is some boom. I don't know what it is. And there is a massive demand for teachers and say
Yeah.
elementary school teachers, not even say high school teachers.
Mhm.
Believe me, same parents would pressurize you to do a course which will help you become an elementary school teacher.
Yes.
So it's purely coming from there. So right now, unfortunately or fortunately, we are at the fourth industrial revolution, where technology is leading, and technology is the driver right now. So anybody who's associated with technology will have greater chance of association with a job or an earning opportunity compared to a person. I'm talking on average person, not say top of his league, compared to some other field. So that's the reality. Now, if it doesn't suit, that doesn't mean if it doesn't work for you, technology doesn't work for you. Please do not follow that, and please do what actually you're good at. And I'm
Yes.
sure then you will rise more there rather than become an average engineer. It is always better to be a good singer, say, for example.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, so if any of the viewers watching this, if you have any questions, you may please drop down in the comments. We can see them and we can select really good questions and we can put it out to sir. If you guys have any question, come on, guys.
Do you have some people? How do you know there are people in this? Is it just
Yes,
three
sir.
of us talking?
Yes, we are three of us talking, but we are live on YouTube, so there'll be people commenting
No,
on this
no.
video.
Only three of us on this. Okay, okay. The people.
Yeah, yeah, we are. Yeah, yeah. Other people watching this video.
I don't think anyone has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll move on. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you
So,
were, okay, should I go? If you wanna go on,
no,
go. I was
no,
just,
I just
okay.
wanted to. Yeah,
Go
yeah.
on.
So, sir, like, it's just a personal question. Do you hire?
So you're mute. So
Sir, you,
sir,
you're on
you
mute,
are
sir.
on mute.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, we do hire. We do hire. Obviously, 2020 is slightly, difficult for,
Yeah.
as you know, everywhere there's revenue loss. So there is some, decision not to hire too many people in this year. But yes, we
Yeah.
have in Simpa, we have 800 people working for us. So, and we are growing, and hopefully we'll grow next year and
Oh.
recruit more people.
Oh, wow.
So again a personal question. So do you come to VIT like for placements and stuff?
Not yet, not yet. So we are predominantly working in this belt, which is low on energy access, and so right now focusing on people, recruiting people from there. We go to a couple of universities, NUT and Versa, but uh, purely geographical
Yeah,
concerns. But yes, going forward, definitely, definitely.
So we'll be looking forward.
And there were some people, yeah, absolutely. And
yeah,
by the way, I guess if there are some questions around, biotechnology, medtech, etc., feel free to ask that also from the audience answer. So I have good experience of working, or good fortune of working in J&J and Stryker, where I really work on medical devices
yeah,
and stuff like that. So if there are some
yeah,
people who wants to know something about that, happy to answer.
yeah,
So okay, so I'll go forward with this theme. So in this COVID time, biomedical industry has literally boomed. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, every other industry went down other than biomedical industry and the medical stuff, like medical thing. So do you think it would remain static, or even like after this whole pandemic situation is in control, when the vaccine comes and everything comes in control, it will again go down to its original stata?
No, no, it's only going to go up from here. What you have seen
It's
is
going.
merely the tip of the iceberg. Have you read the book Sapien? If you have read that book, the future is going to be biotechnology. It's
mm,
only, it is going to invade us in a way that is only comparable to AI. So these are the two things. Mark my words: AI and biotechnology, and they will work together. By the way, uh, is going to reach new heights, unprecedented height that we can't even imagine right now. We don't even know what we don't know, and we don't know what we would know in the future. I must
yeah,
sound a little bit confusing, but that's the reality. So don't worry. If you There's a good time to invest, your skills on those areas.
so
It's
we
going to
are
go up
biomedical
really,
students,
really high.
Yes, so we are biomedical students only.
medical
Like
students, so yeah,
So
good to hear
absolutely.
that.
So very good time. It's like being in the IT students
Yeah,
when how they really face in 90s, late 90s or early 2000 when IT industry was booming. So you are at that cusp of history where
yeah,
biotechnology is really going to grow exponentially. So good time, good time. Please do some, but only thing, please do some post graduation if you are really interested in that.
oh,
Go for some post graduation. The normal engineering graduates in India, unfortunately, the course is not so much detailed extra.
yeah,
So if you want to really take that as a passion area, I would suggest please do some post graduation. Maybe after some OPEX, it's a good thing to do, and preferably in an outside university.
so, there's a question in our comment box. So from Krish P. So, sir, do you think that we might have an embedded chips in our body which can monitor all our activities?
Why not? That's a science fiction right now, but yeah, like I said, we don't. Can you believe that 20 years back when we were doing engineering, there was no Wi-Fi, there was no internet, right? So, and no
yeah,
Google, nothing, no Wikipedia, and today we can't even imagine our life without that. Same is with the mobile phone. So you never know. Right now, it might sound like science fiction, but I'm a firm believer of this, technology invading our life in a in an unprecedented manner. Yes, absolutely. When a baby is born, there will be a, you know option given to the parents in future that do you want to put a chip in his brain,
yeah.
and you can put an Airtel chip or you can put a Microsoft chip
Oh,
or an Intel chip, and each company will say, if you put my chip,
yeah,
the kid will do this, if you do this. So it's
he
all
will become
awesome.
a doctor.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sir. Like there's one to the point question here. Which field after engineering has more scope for placements? MBA, MS, or MTech?
Quite direct, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, MBA definitely has a generalistic, appeal to all industries. So the scope is higher, obviously. MTech is very, now you are going narrow, right? Moment you do MTech, you are studying more and more on very less and less. So you just choose one
Yeah.
thing and then really go deep into that rather than,
Mm.
spreading your knowledge. So obviously the opportunities are lower, but point is the opportunity that you get there finally are really to your liking. It will be to your field, and it will be really high paying compared to say an MBA graduate by the time. That's what the pros and cons of doing this kind of stuff. So yeah,
So
in
Yeah.
terms
there's
of hierarchy, MBA has a greater opportunity.
So MBA
so
is
there's
the better option. Yeah.
yeah. So there's a follow-up question. So can you suggest any excellent courses for a biomedical student like me in foreign universities?
There are many. So even the technology is changing so fast. Even I, at times is not a right person to say, but there are, there is nanotechnology and biology. So go for that. That's something you can go for. There's emergence of merging AI with biotechnology. The right name for that, I don't know what it is, but there are fields right now where that's another good thing. All of these are available on the foreign university courses. The other thing is, medical technology, medtech, not the biotech, obvious. So slightly in the same adjacent area, medtech. Go for medtech higher courses, meaning choose an area. For example, say scanning,
Yeah.
brain scan, example, or a CT scan. So choose an area of that sort and do a master's there, meaning it's related to medical field, it's related to biotech, but it uses technology in a way that the output or the end product is a device, which can be used to monitor or diagnose a, a certain kind of a human ailment. So those are the open fields that you should look for. But yeah, absolutely. No more than me, I think you should do the research and
Yeah.
look for what is good for you.
Yeah. So I think, yeah. So it has been almost 50 minutes since the live started. It was great, sir.
So
It was very.
one more question, sir.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One last question, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
So being simple about especially you being
Please,
about
please.
all empowerment empowerment. So
Mhm.
have you been a part of empowerment drive before, even if in your college life after that? So could you please tell us and our viewers something about it?
Yeah, sure, sure. I'm actually very fortunate to, be part of an empowerment drive, which is inherent to the Simpa's the core business model. So the whole
Exactly.
business model of Simpa revolves around this Urja Mitras, or we call them Urja Mitra, meaning a person in a village who is a key opinion maker, meaning people who look up to him, listens to what he says. So, for example, a teacher in a village, or there's some good senior guy in the village, or the sarpanch or something like that. So we have this Urja Mitra scheme, and they actually bring in the leads meaning the sales, meaning they are the first, invariably they are the first customers. Also they are early adopters, they're very open to adopting new things or new technology, so they first buy it, they like it, and then they become an Urja Mitra, where they bring other customers and they get commission. Now that is an inherent business model. Now what has happened, we really utilize a lot of rural, rural women as Urja Mitra. How it empowers them? Two ways. One, in a rural setup, the beneficiary or the decision makers are the women. They are the lady of the house. They cook in in dark. Their children, they cannot study after dark. They do not have the comfort of fan. So they are the they convince their husbands. Ultimately the money is paid by the man of the house. Okay, but the decision is the lady. So we realized that, and what is then we went on to make Urja Mitras who are predominantly female. So what happens? They go around and then convince other people that hey, it's good for you. It's good for it improves your life. It gives your kids an opportunity to study after that, which will have that means he can rise in his life more. It has the comfort of a fan. You can watch a TV, for example. So in the process, what happens is that they are empowered in a way that they make money out of it. So every time they bring in a sale, they get commission. So it's a livelihood for them. So there are more than 3,000 Urja Mitras. Out of them, a fair share of them are females who are today are associated with Simpa and earns good money. And they also feel good, but they also feel good about it, doing that they are doing something good for the community, that they are bringing power to the villages, and which otherwise the households may not have. And in the process, they earn some money. So
Yeah.
I think this is a great way of saying that old Japanese saying, right? If someone is hungry, don't give him the fish, rather show him how to fish. So it's the same philosophy that rather than an NGO giving some money to a lady, you empower her. So it becomes a livelihood for her. It becomes a means to earn some money. She becomes independent. She makes her own choices. She has her own choices. She has more respect in the village. And in fact, some of them are utilizing that money, what they are earning, to do further business. Like someone has started a tailor shop, or someone must have, done something of a, art and craft, which are handicraft kind of a business. That's something I'm really proud of. I think it gives us an opportunity
Yeah.
to integrate this whole empowerment, business into the business model itself.
Yeah.
So it was so wonderful knowing this, literally.
Yeah, because it's great to know
Thank you.
like startups and other stuff are actually trying to do something good for the society. It's always good to know that.
And so, especially for the underprivileged people who cannot do for themselves that much. So it's really good to know like there are people like you, like who are really doing something to help them. Amazing, sir.
Yes, sir. So,
Thank you.
yeah, it has been a wonderful session. We got lots of questions and stuff. So, I guess it was really informative. We've had a very informative session. Yeah. And yeah, so
Thank
thank you
you.
for joining
Pleasure is
us.
all mine. Happy to help in any way.
Yes, sir. So, thank you for joining us. It was great for sparing 1 hour of your time. Thanks a lot.
Especially on Sunday, sir. Sunday
Yes.
morning.
Yeah. And finally, just
Awesome.
putting it out there. So,
Okay. Have a
we
good
are,
Sunday.
yes, sir. And just putting it out there, we are still unemployed, we both. So, you
So
can still
yes, sir.
consider.
So 22.
Sorry, I missed
Yeah.
that.
Sir,
Sorry, I missed that. What you
so
said?
so that was a joke. It should have been gone in one go. So yeah, sir, I was saying
Okay,
that
sorry, I
we are,
missed that.
yeah, it was that we are still unemployed, sir. So we're just giving it out.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. No, you guys are doing good. Something. This is why I said, like you try to do something, even if it is, you're trying to adopt to a change, right? This is something you have been sitting at home,
Yeah.
but you're still doing something of this sort. That's what are the skills that will take you forward. And great thing that you're doing, and I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Believe me, when I was an engineering student, I was more interested in doing some other stuff, not this kind of stuff. So, and so you guys are doing that's a very good thing, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us, and
Thank you.
I hope it has been a really informative session for all of you. So thank you for tuning in on a Sunday morning, and yeah, so that's it, I guess. So thank you for joining, sir. That's it. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, we are still live.